Today is the 18th Sunday of the year. Our text, gospel text, is taken from John chapter 6, verses 24 through 35. It is an account of Jesus questioning the people about their motivation, and in fact, challenging them. By implication, it's a question put to us. What is your motivation? What is my motivation? What is it I really want? What am I seeking? St. Augustine provides an interesting example of this. Peter Brown wrote one of the finest biographies I've ever read. It's entitled Augustine of Hippo, a biography. In it, he points out that the St. Augustine coming up to his conversion in 386 is not the man we meet post-conversion 10 years later in the Confessions. Augustine underwent a radical transformation. Prior to his conversion, he was very much the philosopher, like philosophers of his time. Contented, peaceful, contemplative, the sapiens who gathered the disciples around and taught them, shared his wisdom with them. After his conversion, he's being taken hold of by Christ. Augustine starts to think differently. Brown gives us a quotation which I'd like to read to you. "Whoever thinks," writes Augustine, "that in this mortal life a man may so disperse the mists of bodily and carnal imaginings as to possess the unclouded light of changeless truth, and to cleave to it with the unswerving constancy of a spirit wholly estranged from the common ways of life, he understands neither what he seeks nor he it is who seeks it." Brown then goes on to offer his reflection. A new image will make its appearance, that of a long highway. The moments of clear vision of truth that the mind gains in this life are of infinite value, but they are now the consolations of a traveller on a long journey. Augustine no longer thinks of himself as having arrived anywhere. He is very much the pilgrim, with other pilgrims, sharing the commonality of pilgrimage. Back to Jesus' question to the people. He says, "You are coming after me, seeking me because I fed you." Isn't that the truth? We don't hear what they said in reply, but it's clearly the case. They are seeking out a man who's basically a magician. They've missed the fact that the feeding is a sign of the deeper reality of who Jesus is and what he has on offer. He has much more on offer than bread and fish. These are a gateway to something else, something more important, vastly more important. They sort of get the hint and then they say, well, what should we do? They want, if you like, a moral program. They want the power for themselves to be able to please God. If we do this, God will be pleased and all shall be right with us and our world. That is not what Jesus is driving at when he asks them, "What do you want?" Because he knows in his heart what they don't know about themselves, that they don't want just a moral program any more than they want just to be fed. He's asking an existential question. What do their beings, what is it their very existence hungers for as human beings? In John's Gospel, there is a fascinating and crucial concept. The Greek verb meno is used. to convey it. Meno can be translated remain, stay, abide, make your home. In chapter 1 of John's Gospel, verses 38 through 39, we have the two disciples with John the Baptist. Jesus comes along. John the Baptist says, "There is the Lamb of God." The two disciples walk after him. And we have one of those exquisite little details in John's Gospel where John says, Jesus turned around, said, "What do you want?" It is so believable it had to have happened. "What do you want?" And they say, where are you staying? Now, on the face of it, they're asking a simple question. Where's your home? What's your address? However, in John's Gospel, this carries the profound implications that are, as I say, existential. Who are you? Where is your existential home? Where are you grounded? Where do you remain? Where do you abide? And he said, "Come and see." So they went with him and they stayed with him. Now, throughout John's Gospel, and particularly climaxing in chapter 15, verses 1 through 11, where we have the parable of the vine, this concept is developed. And basically it can be summed up in Jesus' words: abide in my love, remain in my love, stay in my love. This is not a point of arrival, it is a point of departure. It is the love that Jesus embodies that is our motivation. It is the love that Jesus embodies that is our vehicle, if you like, of traveling. It is the love that Jesus embodies that is the point for which we live. Abide in my love. Make your home. It's not about answers, knowing changeless truths. As Augustine points out, much, much more important than that. Back to our people and the question. They are still very, very much at the beginning, or they haven't even approached the starting line yet. And the disciples, you wonder how much they appreciate it. But discipleship is that journey in love, that being loved daily into freedom, constantly. How many of us could say life has turned out exactly as I expected it to? I think already when we begin our teenage years, we're discovering that that's not the truth. Certainly by the time we've reached 70, we know definitely it is not the truth. We are not in charge of our destiny. We have some input. But one of the greatest gifts, I would suggest, using Brown's title for chapter 15 of his biography of Augustine, one of the greatest gifts is the lost future. Is when life confronts us with the truth, you're not in charge, you know. You cannot simply set out a plan, a strategy, as if life was a problem to be solved. It's a mystery to be lived in the grace of God, by the love of God. And at the heart of that mystery is infinite love. I'm going to conclude with a beautiful, simple, concise prayer of Augustine. I think it sort of sums up what Jesus is driving at here: to discover in your heart this yearning, plus the grace of God, that the yearning of your being is of a piece with the gift of God's love. And so St. Augustine prays in the Confessions, not to be more certain of you, God, but to be more steadfast in you. Not to be more certain of you, but to be more steadfast in you.